Hi traders, welcome to Elite Currency. My name is Chris. Today again a video of the Forex market analysis and potential trade setups for the beginning of October, the first half of the week here. Of course, we have new September candles to look at. That always is useful information, so make sure to do that. We will, in this video, take a look at some of them, of course, right now. Alright, the euro dollar, we have a specific euro dollar video actually diving into the details more specifically, so make sure to check that out as well. By the way, we will also have in October a free 2-week trial, so make sure to check that out. We'll be announcing the details soon. But with regard to the euro dollar, the quick recap is basically the fact that price is bouncing off a 23.6 fib, and therefore I think there could be either an ABC correction up to 119 from about 117.50, 117.60, and at 119 there will be an important decision zone whether price will continue with the trend or whether there will be a bigger reversal slash retracement, I should say, down to the 38.2 fib on the daily chart, which is basically this fib right here. So whether price will break to the upside basically with the trend or bounce at 119 for a move down to 115 at the 38.2 fib and then probably bounce back up again. That's the main question. For the moment though, I think there could be a dip and bounce up to 119 up to that decision zone. So that's something very interesting. I wouldn't be surprised in a way if the correction gets expanded. I think I'm leaning towards that, but of course it depends on how price will respond to 119. Pound dollar is basically the same. Price is in a bearish channel. This is a bounce or break spot. If it breaks, the uptrend can continue up to 137.50, 138.50, which is the minus 272 target. If it bounces, of course, there could be a basically continuation of this channel, and then I would expect price, as soon as it breaks through the 38.2 fib, to move down to the 50 fib. You can see that price stopped at the 38, it stopped at the 23.6 fib, then the next bouncing spot could be the 50 or 61.8 fib, and a break of this support could be the breakout to the downside. So, and of course, the break above the channel could be the break to the upside. So that's the pound. The dollar yen basically in an uptrend and is testing support. There were engulfing twins here at support, and basically I think there's a chance of a breakout continuation on the dollar yen too. But if it breaks through this support level right here, I can draw a line like this. If it breaks through that support and the support trend line, of course, then there could be a bigger correction down to the test the long-term moving average. In that case, I would put a fib from the bottom to the top, like this. All right, and we need to be aware that price could move down to the 38, make a correction, and then move all the way down even to the 61.8 fib. Something like that could occur if price breaks through support. On the hourly chart, though, it's looking bullish. So for the moment, a bullish break could occur, and if it does, that could be a breakout trade to the minus 272 target at the and close to, in fact, 115 psychological round level. So that's the dollar yen. Now the euro pound is basically showing some hesitation here in this area. I will be looking at the support and resistance trend lines for a bigger move up or down. I will not be trading it, but it's more for information purposes whether the euro or the pound will be weaker or stronger. The AUDUSD is looking interesting, one of the interesting pairs for this week. I think that there is an interest rate though, by the way, so be careful of that. That is somewhere in Tuesday, early morning, I think, if I remember correctly, on Tuesday. But anyhow, take a look at, of course, at the calendar to find out the exact details when that takes place. But basically, price is moving down, is in a bearish momentum, and if it breaks support, there could be a move down to the fourth whiz level at 77.50, which is a psychological round level as well. So that is something, and the long-term moving average. So that's a breakout trade, basically good space there to the fourth, and of course if it breaks through that, maybe even to the fifth. But for the moment, the fourth level I think is a good confluence because of the long-term moving average. That could be a bouncing spot too, by the way. So from this point of view, let's take a look at the hourly chart. Slight divergence between these bottoms could also mean that price makes an extended ABC like this. So if it does break above resistance, there's a good chance that price will get back to the second whiz level and the long-term moving average at around 79. All right. So and then we'll have to see. We'll have to use new information. If it builds a bull flag, then more continuation is likely. Whereas if it makes a downside and then builds a bear flag, there could be a good chance of a breakout to the downside. So it depends on how price will respond to 79. But this is a good kind of structure. This is a good little pullback, and that could be a good breakout if it does break, because this is also a little bit of momentum. So we could see a bigger correction like that too. Keeping an eye on both trend lines. Aussie is interesting though from my perspective. The Kiwi also interesting, but is a bit choppier. As you can see, there's also a big support trend line nearby. And on the hourly chart, that was the daily chart, we see here on the hourly that basically this is pretty choppy in the meantime. The price already broke in the last hour of trading last week through this kind of support trend line. So a bit hesitant with looking for a breakout in this particular pair because of the big support. And it is a good flag. It's almost like a channel because it's the 4-hour chart. And basically, I think that at this moment, it's probably better to wait for new information. If there is a good bear flag like this, the breakout does look interesting for upside. Whereas if we see some strong momentum to the upside, I would probably be more cautious until price breaks above 72.50, which is the top of this channel. A break above that, pullback and continue, could be good for upside. But Kiwi looking a little bit less interesting. Dollar CAD also looking interesting. Basically, price is testing an uptrend. Price is above the third whiz level, made a nice dash to the fourth, and the next target could be the fifth whiz level, right? Once again, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 126.30 is the fifth whiz level. So as long as price stays above this support, above the support trend line, it could still actually make a little bit more downside. And as long as it stays above that, any turn, any retracement, or any signs of continuation, as long as it stays above 124, right, 124.25, could be a good SWAT signal or a good continuation signal if you don't use SWAT or trade SWAT to 126.30. For SWAT traders, that could be a good setup for a good move up on the dollar CAD. For the moment, it's looking bullish. Also, if you look at the 4-hour chart, you can see that we've been in this trend channel for a while. Also, we broke above this supply-demand zone. We broke above this resistance trend line. So, yeah, this could continue higher as long as it stays above support and shows a continuation. And the continuation for SWAT traders would be an arrow or candle, SWAT arrow signal in the strike zone right there, right, in the decision zone. So with regard to the euro yen, I think is less interesting. I think from a whiz point of view, we see dollar CAD Aussie very interesting. From a structural point of view, I do think that the euro dollar is interesting, pound also from that point of view. I think the yen pairs are not that great as yet. Looking for the dollar yen for a bit more guidance about the yen side. The euro yen you can see in an uptrend, right? We've got higher highs, higher lows. That's no doubt about that. But we do have, looking at, the 4-hour chart, we see, of course, a strong momentum to the downside and a slow upside. So from this perspective, we might be making an ABC correction like this, A, B, C. So if we put a fib on the A, like this, we see the price hit the 50 fib, right? Could even make it up to the 61, but eventually could make this bigger correction down to the -272 target. So we're talking about something that might take a long before this develops, just because it's a 4-hour chart and it's a big structure. So this is not something that will necessarily happen tomorrow, right? It could take a week or two, maybe even before these things play out. But considering the choppy upside, right, a break of this channel could be a good move down to test support and the 272 target and the trendline area. So that could be a breakout to the downside, but it could also be a potential bouncing zone down here for upside as it completes this ABC here or at the -61.8 target. But this probably a little bit better zone around 131 for now. So looking at the daily chart yet again, then that would make basically this, right? And then up again. Well, let's see. That is something that for the moment could occur. On the hourly chart though, from a trading perspective on short term, I think it could be interesting to look for a turn at the 61.8 fib like this, or to look for price to test the trend line, break it, make a small pattern maybe, and continue lower. Right? Looks a little bit interesting, more interesting than upside at this point. Upside could be interesting if I see, I would have to see probably a break of this channel. So probably would have to see something like this. Maybe price goes sideways like that, then break above the 61.8 fib and make a small little bull flag and then continue higher. Pound yen is looking a little bit more interesting for upside, perhaps because of the fact that we have a good resistance trend line. So a break above that could be a breakout to the upside. However, price did also break below this support trend line, and it's an interesting spot. Basically, it hooked back, pulled back to the broken support, and bounced away from that. So, you know, if pound yen manages to get back above this support at around 151, yes, there is space to the upside. But at the same time, price has broken support, is below this resistance, so continuation is likely as well. So on a 50-minute chart, we're seeing this kind of corrective pattern at this moment. So probably we need to see this corrective pattern break for the trend line like this maybe. Moving averages are all kind of lined up to each other. So this is not something, SWAT traders, or at least beginning SWAT traders, would want to trade because of the moving averages. But yes, there could be an advanced trade for a breakout to the downside or upside. Both, as I said, I'm not a big fan of these yen pairs, both not looking that very appealing to me. Just my 2 cents on the yen. I would be cautious with the yen for the moment. Other pairs look more interesting. Even the Euro New Zealand looks more interesting. You can see from my perspective that price is even breaking out. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart, and you can see that this is a pretty good breakout candle. All right, so looks like Euro strength at the end of September, at the end of last week, basically. So I think that the moving averages are quite messy. That's not a great thing, but this could be a breakout potential on the Euro New Zealand. Also, we were talking about the fact that this could be kind of a correction on the Euro New Zealand. We were talking about the fact in previous videos that this is an uptrend, that it hit the minus 272 target at the red circle and is making a move back down to support. So all of that is basically happening now. The next phase or step would be the potential breakout, right? And that could happen. As you can see, good daily candle here. So, well, how to trade it? Well, basically, SWAT traders would be looking for this to finish, looking for a pullback and then the SWAT signal around here, as you can see, wherever the moving averages will line up, the ones we use for SWAT. If you're not using SWAT, well, I think that basically probably, it depends how the open is. I think that if there's an open that shows a bull flag, that could be interesting for upside. I think if there's a move down to support, it could also still be interesting. Or if it continues immediately, then look for another bull flag, right, a bit higher for a continuation higher. Very simple, right? Looking for some patterns, basically, after this momentum to finish. All right, so EURUSD is more or less the same as the Euro New Zealand, but EURUSD has not broken the top resistance line. It depends on how you draw the trend line. If you connect the wicks, it hasn't been broken. If you exclude some of the wicks and look at the candle close here, for instance, like this, then it has been broken, right, with this daily candle. All right, so basically upside, correction, this could be a breakout to the upside. Here too, it looks like Euro strength potential, right? So from this perspective, just like the Euro New Zealand, I think more or less the same kind of structures could be visible, and we could see kind of the same setups occur throughout the week. We could take a quick look at the AUD New Zealand to see, okay, which one could be more interesting, the EURUSD or Euro New Zealand. And having a quick look at that, we see pretty bearish weekly candles. We see a bearish monthly candle. So the Aussie looks a tad weaker at this moment than the New Zealand. So I think the EURUSD, from that point of view, looks probably a little better than the Euro New Zealand at this moment. So what we're probably looking for on this EURUSD is, well, one thing could be a good daily candle break, right? So that's this, just basically trading this candle. or even the weekly candle. So what we'd be looking for maybe is a slight retracement of that candle to about 150. We can put a fib on that candle like this. All right, like that. We got a fib on the candle. We look at the daily, and basically probably move down to the 38.2 fib. Could be bouncing spots. So let's dive into the 4-hour chart. All right, there we go. And if it hooks back like this and bounces, that could be a good continuation. So for the SWAT traders, we're looking for about continuation signals about here. After it bounces, we will see arrows and candles. Non-SWAT traders probably looking for candlestick patterns to confirm that retracement and bounce. If it doesn't retrace but continues, right, that's fine. But then I would be looking out at the -272 target, and I would be looking for a bull flag there and a break of that -272 target and bull flag. All right, pound odd basically did continue with the upside. We talked about that last week, I think, as well. And good breakout, made a kind of messy move in here, but ultimately still even continued higher after that. And I think that pound odd is looking a bit mixed at this moment. I mean, you have upside continuation, but a double top at this moment at least. And I think it depends on how price breaks. If it breaks this channel, there could be a bigger correction down to 168, which is a bouncing spot too, by the way. All right, so something to keep an eye on. Or if it breaks on the hourly chart, breaks this little resistance trend line here, it could be a breakout with a continuation of this channel too. So that's something to be aware of, right? Because if you look at this channel, still intact. So made a strong retracement within this channel, right? Took it all the way, actually even broke that channel a little bit. Let me adjust that just a tad, maybe like this. Kind of tried to break through it, but didn't manage to break above the channel and this top. Made it all the way back to the bottom of the channel, showed a bullish pin bar at the bottom of the channel, and now it's moving up again. So I think probably slightly more likely is actually the break of resistance, although it depends once again on that odd interest rate. Always be careful of that. But if it does break, a continuation with this channel to the upside seems likely. In that case, we can get rid of this fib, perhaps even put a fib like this, and think about the -272 target at 172.50-ish, and that's a round level as well. Last but not least, odd Swiss franc. This is something that has hit, as a SWAT trading group, has hit our radar because of the Wiz level that I will add right now. You can see that if we add the Wiz level to the top, there we go. Now basically we are below the third level. Price has broken below this support trend line like that, and or triangle. You can see a triangle there. Break of that triangle, and price is headed towards the fourth level as expected. So that's still open, and I think that if it shows, well, there has been already some entry signals, of course, upon the break of that triangle. But if there is any correction that could take place, another one, the beginning of the week, often cautious, often we see patterns like this occur, then a break of the next bear flag could be a good move for continuation of this odd Aussie versus the Swiss franc. All right, so that's technically how it looks like at this moment. Looks like a good break to the downside, as you can see. All right, traders, thanks for sharing, liking, and subscribing to EliteCurrency.com. You can, of course, check out more free analysis and tools, indicators there. Plus, of course, don't forget, soon there will be a 2-week free trial for you to test our analysis for yourself live. And above all, wish you great trading. Cheers.